divers discovered remnants from a 1,600-year-old shipwreck off the coast of Israel. The divers stumbled across a sculpture partially buried in the ocean floor 30 miles from Caesarea.
Buried beneath the waves for over 3 centuries, ancient pirate shipwrecks have yielded discoveries that have stunned scientists.
The Israeli Antiquities Authority examined anchors from the ship, water jugs, fragments of full-size statues, smaller sculptures, and lamps.
Remarkably preserved skeletons believed to belong to infamous crew members. These ancient pirates remain shrouded in mystery, raising questions about their fate and the secrets hidden within the wreckage. What stories do these bones tell? And how did they survive the ravages of time? Join us as we dive into these shocking discoveries in century-old shipwrecks. Uncovering the richest pirate's final resting place. Let's start with the story of the richest pirate in history, who managed to avoid being caught while alive. But even now, long after his death, people are still trying to track him down, not for justice, but for science. Samuel Black Sam Bellamy went down with his ship, the Whydah, and more than 140 crew members during a fierce storm near Cape Cod in 1717. Hundreds of years later, it seems like Black Sam himself might become the treasure in a surprising twist to his story. The wreck of the Whydah was found in 1984, and over time, explorers uncovered different parts of the ship, like its bell, and even a small brass plaque. But as for Black Sam, there was no trace of him until recently when researchers noticed a human bone sticking out of a clump of sand and debris from the shipwreck. Could it belong to Black Sam? Back in 2018, archaeologists at the Whydah Pirate Museum carefully removed the ancient thigh bone from the huge 1,630-kilogram pile of wreckage, which weighed about 3,600 pounds. Now, scientists from the University of New Haven are trying to extract DNA from the bone. They hope to match it with the DNA of a living relative descended from one of Black Sam's siblings. This story might remind you of those spooky Pirates of the Caribbean scenes where pirate skeletons reveal their true selves under moonlight. But instead of magic, this is all about modern DNA analysis. The researchers are serious about their work, and they believe there's a chance the bone they found might belong to Samuel Black Sam Bellamy. Why? Because the bone was discovered near what they think was Bellamy's pistol, along with other bones, coins, glass, and tools. That's why they suspect the femur could have belonged to the legendary pirate, who was known for being both daring and oddly chivalrous. The team isn't sure if the bone still holds enough DNA for testing, but they're optimistic. One of the researchers, Claire Glynn, told the Cape Cod Times that being underwater may have helped preserve it by keeping oxygen out. She explained that oxygen is one of the main things that causes DNA to break down. When Black Sam went down with his crew, he was only 28 years old, but even though his time as a pirate lasted just over a year, he made a huge impact. In that short time, he captured 53 ships and amassed an incredible amount of treasure that included about 5 tons of gold, ivory, and other valuables, including 30,000 pounds sterling, all stored in the Whydah's hold. Not a bad haul for a pirate, right? Samuel Black Sam Bellamy made enough during his short career to go down in history as the richest pirate ever, with a fortune valued at about $120 million US. And now, if luck is still on his side, the bones found in that clump of pirate loot might finally confirm his identity. If the DNA testing proves that the femur belongs to Black Sam, forensic scientist Timothy Palmbach, who is leading the analysis, says the remains will be sent back to England, where Bellamy was born. There, he'll get a proper burial that's long overdue. If it's Bellamy, Palmbach told the Cape Cod Times, it's time to bring Bellamy home. But if that's not wild enough for you, wait until you hear about an ancient tomb discovered thousands of years after it was sealed. The 5,000-year-old tomb of Wangzhuang. It sounded almost unbelievable when archaeologists found a huge tomb estimated to be about 5,000 years old at the Wangzhuang ruins in Yongcheng, a city in central China's Henan province.
Archaeologist Dr. Aaron Watson has been exploring Maze How for 20 years.
This is Maze How, one of the pinnacles of Neolithic architecture.
Yes.
According to Chinese experts, this discovery offers fresh clues about the early days of Chinese civilization. Inside the tomb, they uncovered more than 350 items, including hundreds of jade and pottery pieces, pig jaw bones, which were a sign of wealth, and finely decorated ivory ornaments. The tomb is considered one of the largest and richest in artifacts from the Dawenku culture, which dates back to a period between 4000 BC and 2600 BC during the late Neolithic Age. The tomb is unusually large for the Dawenku culture, covering over 17 square meters. Its size suggests the person buried there held a high-ranking position. Experts think it might have been the resting place of a monarch from an ancient state. However, they also found evidence that the tomb had been damaged by enemy forces long ago. Only a few human bones were recovered, and no complete skeleton was found. Archaeologists believe this discovery sheds new light on the development of ancient kingdoms in various regions during the rise of Chinese civilization, roughly 5,000 years ago. Since 2023, a team of archaeologists has been working together to excavate this site. Liu Haiwang, who leads the archaeological team, shared that in 2024, they discovered 45 Dawenku culture tombs at the Wangzhuang site. Out of these, 27 have already been excavated. Some of the tombs seem to have belonged to important figures as they hold valuable artifacts and pig jawbones, which symbolized wealth at the time. One of the largest tombs is about 4 8/10 meters long and 3 68/100 meters wide. This tomb stands out with its inner and outer coffins and a collection of burial objects, including different kinds of pottery and more than 300 jade ornaments. Archaeologists also found ceremonial stone tablets and jade axes in the high-ranking tombs, items believed to have played an important role in rituals. These objects later influenced the culture and traditions of the Xia, Shang, and Zhou dynasties. This discovery provides clues about the beginnings of imperial power in the prehistoric Central Plains. So far, the team has uncovered over 1,000 artifacts at the site. The findings show that the cultural features of Wangzhuang are diverse, mainly linked to the Dawenku culture, but also containing elements from the Yangshao and Liangzhu cultures. In their report, the team described Wangzhuang as a meeting point for multiple cultural influences, shaped by interactions between eastern and central China, as well as the Yangtze River basin. Despite this blending, the site developed its own unique identity. This discovery offers an important look at how different cultures came together during prehistoric times. Excavations at the site are still ongoing. But now, let's leave the ground behind and dive into a mystery beneath the waves. The Roman shipwreck of Ces Fontenelles. Nearly 2,000 years ago, a Roman ship loaded with hundreds of jars filled with food and wine sank in the shallow waters of the Bay of Palma in Majorca, Spain.
Divers discovered remnants from a 1,600-year-old shipwreck off the coast of Israel. That discovery led to a treasure trove of ancient Roman artifacts.
For about 1,700 years, it stayed hidden and untouched until recently. News reports say the shipwreck, now called Ces Fontenelles, was discovered during the summer of 2019. A storm had shifted the sand around it, revealing its location. Found just 6 5/10 feet below the surface and 164 feet from one of Majorca's busiest beaches, the ship had been surprisingly well hidden. What's more amazing is that a natural layer of sand had protected it by keeping oxygen from causing damage. The discovery was so remarkable that universities from the Balearic Islands, Barcelona, and Cadiz joined forces for a 3-year project called Archeomalornauta to recover the ship and its cargo. The first phase of the project started in November 2021, with researchers hoping to learn more about maritime trade during the late antiquity period. Inside the amphorae, which are 2-handled clay jars used in ancient Rome, archaeologists found remains of olive oil, wine, and garum, a type of fermented fish sauce that was like Roman ketchup, according to the local. Experts think the ship was transporting these goods from Cartagena, Spain, to the Italian peninsula. It likely stopped at Majorca's port before sinking. Back in 117 AD, at the peak of the Roman Empire, its territory stretched from Europe to Western Asia, the Mediterranean, and North Africa. Ships commonly carried goods to far-off places, so finding Roman shipwrecks today isn't unusual. But Say Fontenelles stands out as something truly special. The wooden ship, measuring about 39 feet long and between 16 and 19 feet wide, is not just well preserved. It holds some of the rarest treasures ever found in the Mediterranean Sea. Along with 300 amphorae, archaeologists found a cooking pot, an oil lamp, shoes made of rope and leather, and a carpenter's drill, which is one of only 4 ever discovered in the area. These artifacts also give a glimpse into the cultural beliefs of the time. For example, the recovered oil lamp had the symbol of the moon goddess Diana, a pagan figure, while the amphorae were marked with Christian seals, according to a press release. Researchers believe the crew was likely pagan, but the cargo they carried had Christian symbols. This suggests the items might have belonged to a church authority. It also shows how pagan and Christian beliefs existed side by side during that time. Further studies of the wreck reveal how important the Balearic Islands were to the ancient Romans. Experts say the islands probably served as a key stop between Italy and Spain. The Balearic elites likely used them as hubs for trade and social connections. Since no human remains were found in the wreck, archaeologists think the crew either reached the shore safely or were swept away by the storm that sank the ship, according to news reports. The goal of the Arqueo Malor Nauta project is to recover and preserve the shipwreck and its contents. The second phase, focused on recovering the ship's hull, is already underway and is expected to be finished by 2023. Once completed, researchers plan to display the entire ship for the public to see. While this discovery is fascinating, the next one is just as incredible. The largest jade dragon. Archaeologists in northeastern China uncovered something amazing, and it was a jade dragon artifact that is 5,000 years old. It's about 6 inches long, 4 inches wide, and 1 inch thick. Experts are calling it the largest jade dragon ever found from the Hongshan culture. The discovery was made in Chifeng, a city in Inner Mongolia, which is a special region in China. The artifact came from a burial mound that's between 5,000 and 5,100 years old. This mound includes a circular tomb placed north of a square altar. The Hongshan culture, a large Neolithic group known for their beautiful carved objects, created this burial site. They are thought to have made some of the first jade items in history. In 2024, researchers started a 4-month excavation at this site. So far, they've found human remains, fire pits, pottery, and more than 100 jade objects. But the jade dragon, because of its size, really caught their attention. Still, not everyone agrees about its importance. Shipwreck Lavi, an expert who has worked in the area but wasn't part of this dig, says similar jade dragon artifacts have been found at other Hongshan tombs. And here's the twist. Some historians think these objects might not even be dragons. Since they don't know for sure what these shapes meant during the Neolithic period, calling them dragons could be misleading. Even with the debate, officials believe the discovery is helping us understand more about the Hongshan culture. The many jade items they've uncovered give clues about how ancient people used jade. The research team is still working, using things like radiocarbon dating and mapping to learn more. Interestingly, a similar site with a ritual complex was found about 90 miles from Chifeng at a place called New Heliang. But impressive tomb discoveries aren't just a thing in China. Let's take a trip to another country famous for its tombs, Egypt. Unwrapping the secrets of Amenhotep I. In Egypt, researchers have used cutting-edge technology to digitally unwrap the mummy of Amenhotep I, giving us a closer look at the ancient pharaoh's life.
We made major important discovery today. We used technology to reveal the secret of an important mummy of King Amenhotep I, the son of Amose.
This method allowed them to gather detailed information, like his age, height, and even his facial features, without disturbing the mummy itself. Hawass and Sahar Salim, an expert in paleoradiology from Cairo University, used X-ray and CT scans to create 3D images of the pharaoh's remains, which are over 3,500 years old. These new findings were recently shared in Frontiers in Medicine. Amenhotep, also known as Amenophis I, ruled Egypt from 1525 to 1504 BCE and was the second king of the 18th dynasty. His father, Amosi I, had united Egypt by defeating the Hyksos and regaining control of lands around the Nile River Delta, marking the beginning of the New Kingdom era. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, Amenhotep expanded Egypt's borders through wars with Nubia, reclaimed a Middle Kingdom fortress at Sinai, and possibly controlled land in Syria. He also built temples, including one dedicated to the god Amun at Karnak. Notably, he was the first pharaoh to be buried in a tomb separate from his mortuary temple, as reported by Jasmine Liu for Hyperallergic. The exact location of Amenhotep's original tomb is still unknown, but in 1881, archaeologists found his mummy at Deir el-Bahri in Luxor. This site, used by 21st dynasty officials, held royal mummies to protect them from tomb robbers. Researchers examining Amenhotep's bones concluded that he was about 35 years old when he died. There were no clear signs of injury or illness to explain his death. Salim pointed out that Amenhotep, like his father, had a narrow chin, nose, curly hair, and mildly protruding upper teeth. Salim also noted that Amenhotep was about 5 feet 6 inches tall, circumcised, and had good teeth. His wrappings included 30 amulets and a special golden girdle with gold beads. Hawass, her colleague, suggested that the girdle might have had a magical meaning, while each amulet was believed to help the pharaoh in the afterlife. Interestingly, many royal mummies were unwrapped long ago, but Amenhotep's mummy was left untouched. The study mentions that the 19th century French Egyptologist Gaston Maspero, who was Egypt's director of antiquities at the time, chose to preserve Amenhotep's mummy due to its perfect wrapping and exquisite face mask. Hieroglyphic records show that around the years between 1070 to 945 BCE, priests were responsible for unwrapping and rewrapping the mummy of Amenhotep I. They did this to repair damage done by tomb robbers. The priest had to reattach the pharaoh's head, which had been severed from his body, replace bandages that had come loose, and place 2 new amulets inside the mummy. Some researchers had believed that the priest had taken jewelry and other items from the mummy, but Salim's new findings debunk this theory. She explains that mummies from the New Kingdom, like Amenhotep's, were the best preserved ancient bodies ever discovered. These royal mummies are often referred to as time capsules because they give us a glimpse into the lives of ancient rulers. Salim concluded that they provide valuable information about the appearance, health, diseases, and mummification techniques of ancient kings and queens, as well as details about the crafting of their funerary objects, such as masks, amulets, jewelry, and coffins. In recent years, imaging technology has made it possible for researchers to get a clearer look at mummies without physically unwrapping them. In 2020, teams used CT scans and X-ray diffraction to examine the mummies of a child from the Roman period in Egypt and 3 animals. DNA testing is also helping researchers uncover new details about ancient lives, including the ability to recreate the faces of people who were mummified thousands of years ago. Now, let's shift our focus back to China, where an exciting discovery left archaeologists scratching their heads for a while. The magic mirror. For many who have visited the Cincinnati Art Museum, the ancient mirror from China may not have seemed all that special.
This is a Chinese magic mirror. It's a single piece of metal. One side is polished to a mirror finish. The other side has an embossed image.
But recently, researchers uncovered that it was actually a fascinating and mysterious artifact. Dr. Hu Mei-sung, the curator of East Asian art at the museum, had been looking into ancient artworks collected by the Ohio Museum since 1961. She eventually focused her attention on a mirror that was about 1,000 years old. What stood out the most about the mirror was the raised Chinese characters on its back, which featured the name of Buddha Amitabha. For many years, this mirror had been tucked away in storage with other ancient pieces that hadn't been shown to the public. The last time it was on display was in 2017. While doing her research, Dr. Sung asked her team to shine direct light onto the center of the mirror. When the light reflected off the surface, it revealed an image of Amitabha Buddha surrounded by rays of light. This magical Buddha-shaped mirror, also known as a magic mirror, was first made during the Han Dynasty, which lasted from 202 BCE to 220 CE. Because making these mirrors was so difficult, they are extremely rare. The Shanghai Museum used to have several of these mirrors from the Han Dynasty, but experts have only found 2 mirrors with magical Buddha images. Both of these rare pieces are from Japan. One is displayed at the Tokyo National Museum, and the other can be seen at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. The reason these magical mirrors are so rare is because of how complicated they were to make. A UNESCO article once explained that the mirrors were made of bronze with designs carved into the back. The reflective surface is convex and highly polished. Lastly, artisans used a mercury-based liquid to bring out the images. When the mirror is angled just right, the copper reflects the light, showing hidden images, like the Amitabha Buddha seen in the discovery at the Cincinnati Art Museum. It's an incredible find, but it might not be as mind-blowing as a treasure worth billions of dollars, which we'll explore next. A $17 billion underwater treasure. New pictures of one of the world's most valuable shipwrecks show how well it's been preserved at the bottom of the ocean off the coast of Colombia.
The new images are stunning. Lying 3,000 feet down on the ocean floor off Colombia, what may be the biggest sunken treasure ever.
The search for this treasure has also led to the discovery of 2 other historic shipwrecks in the same area. The latest photos and videos of the San Jose treasure galleon were shared by the Colombian Navy. This ship, which sank in 1708, was carrying around $17 billion worth of gold, silver, and jewels when it went down. The wreck was only found in 2015. To examine it, the Navy used a remotely operated underwater vehicle, though they're keeping the exact location secret to protect it from treasure hunters. The new images show that the ship's wooden hull is covered in marine growth, which are ocean species that grow on surfaces like shipwrecks, but it's still in surprisingly good shape after more than 300 years underwater. A spokesperson for the Colombian Navy said that they found cannons, coins, and gold bars scattered on the seafloor, along with a set of porcelain tableware that's in perfect condition. The preservation is so amazing that researchers are even able to read inscriptions on the items. With the inscriptions found, we could figure out where the ship's cannons were made. In Seville and Cadiz in 1655, the spokesperson explained. You can also spot various gold items, including the macuquinas, which was a type of coin, and the dates they were minted. Experts believe that the shipwreck and its treasures are so well preserved because the San Jose sank to a very deep spot, which is about 2,000 feet down, far away from the sunlight that many marine creatures need to survive. Navy experts also found 2 other shipwrecks on the ocean floor nearby, one from the colonial period, which started around 1525 when the Spanish arrived and lasted until the early 1800s, and the other being a schooner that's about 200 years old. The exact origins of both ships are still unknown. The wreck of the San Jose and its precious cargo are at the heart of a big international legal dispute. The Colombian government says the shipwreck and all its treasure belong to them, and the Colombian Navy is keeping an eye on the site, which is located near the Barú Peninsula, south of Cartagena. However, the ship was part of the Spanish Navy when it sank in 1708, and according to international law, Spain still owns the San Jose and everything it contains. Back in 2018, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization UNESCO advised Colombia not to take anything from the wreck. But the Colombian government insists that the wreck and all its treasure are theirs, and they've asked people interested in recovering it to register. According to a Spanish naval history site called Todo a Babor, the San Jose was a 62-gun galleon from the Spanish Navy. In 1708, it led a fleet of 3 warships and 14 merchant ships from Portobello in Panama to Cartagena, which was a major port on Colombia's Caribbean coast. The ships were planning to take shelter there during the hurricane season before crossing the Atlantic to Europe. Historical records say the San Jose was carrying about 200 tons of gold, silver, and jewels. But in early June of that year, British Navy warships intercepted the convoy. During the battle that followed, the San Jose exploded after its gunpowder stores caught fire. Around 600 people on board lost their lives. The location of the San Jose wreck remained a mystery until the 1980s, when an American salvage company claimed it had found the site and tried to make a deal with the Colombian government to recover it. In 2015, the Colombian government revealed that the San Jose wreck had been found by maritime archaeologists working alongside the Colombian Navy, despite the previous attempts by an American salvage company. The site's depth makes recovering the ship and its treasures both costly and complicated, and so far, no physical efforts have been made to recover anything. Colombia's former president, Iván Duque, said that the Colombian Navy's role in monitoring the wreck would ensure its protection as a World Heritage Site. But he also hinted that Colombia claims ownership of the San Jose shipwreck and everything inside it, adding that items from the wreck would eventually be shown in museums. He further explained that the plan is to recover the treasure with sustainable ways to fund future extractions. In this way, the legacy of the San Jose galleon, including its treasures, is protected. While the debate over who owns the wreck continues, the next find by accident left everyone amazed. For today's subscriber's pick, we learn about one of the most remarkable discoveries of human remains from a sunken ship, the Antikythera shipwreck. This ancient Roman merchant vessel sank around 65 BC off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera. It has provided numerous artifacts, including the famous Antikythera mechanism, which is considered the world's first analog computer. In 2016, archaeologists uncovered a well-preserved human skeleton at the site, buried beneath shards of pottery and sand deposits. The remains included 2 arm bones, 2 femurs, several ribs, and a partial skull with teeth. This discovery is significant because it offers a rare chance to study the DNA of an ancient shipwreck victim and learn more about the lives of those who sailed on the ill-fated vessel. But what are your thoughts on this discovery? Do you think we'll find more like it in the future, possibly alongside sunken treasure? Or are such expeditions a waste of time and resources? Let us know in the comments below. The 600-year-old gold and diamond ring of Sir Thomas Brook. On a regular day, most metal detector enthusiasts go home with little more than trash. But David Board, aged 69, had an extraordinary day. He was almost finished when his metal detector beeped in a field in Dorset, a county in southwestern England. He dug about 5 inches into the earth and pulled out an object. After taking it home and cleaning it, he discovered it was a gold and diamond ring, still in nearly perfect condition. Board had spent some time metal detecting in the 70s, but hadn't picked it up again until 2019, when he went out for just his second trip since then. Now, the ring is going to auction at Noonan's, where it's expected to fetch up to $47,000. Board shared with the local news that in the past, each ring was custom-made, unlike the mass-produced ones we see today. He described it as stunning and called the find a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. After the ring was found, it was sent to the British Museum for dating and verification. Experts also looked into the history of the land where it was discovered. Their research suggested that the ring could have been the wedding ring of Sir Thomas Brook, a wealthy landowner who gave it to his wife, Lady Joan Brook, when they married in 1388, according to a statement from Noonan's. The ring has 2 bands that twist together, symbolizing the joining of 2 lives. On the inside, there's an inscription in French that says, "Io vos tien foi tenez le moi," which means, "I hold your faith, hold mine." The idea of chivalric and courtly love, which started in the 12th century, reached its peak during the 14th and 15th centuries, according to the auction house. These ideas can be seen in the jewelry of that time, and the ring being sold is a great example of that influence. In recent years, other amateur metal detectorists in England have also found rare and valuable artifacts. For instance, a teenager in Hertfordshire discovered a bronze axe that dates back to around 1300 BCE. An anonymous hobbyist unearthed a gold coin from the 13th century in farmland in Devon. and a retired scientist found a gold coin from the 14th century in a farmer's field in Norfolk. As for Board, reports say he now goes out with his metal detector about 3 times a week, hoping to find his next big treasure. But his next discovery is something that could be called out of this world, literally. The Meteorite Arrowhead. Archaeologists recently made an exciting discovery at the Murigen archaeological site in Switzerland that was a metal arrowhead made from a meteorite.
In a groundbreaking discovery, a team of scientists has uncovered a Bronze Age arrowhead that was made from a meteorite that fell to Earth thousands of years ago.
Long before humans figured out how to smelt iron from ores, iron objects had already been found in ancient sites. These items didn't come from ancient aliens, but from iron fragments that had fallen to Earth as meteorites. Prehistoric people around the world used meteoritic iron for many different objects. Archaeologists have found items made from this material, such as ritual swords, small statues, and jewelry in places like Turkey, Greece, Syria, Indonesia, China, and North Africa. In fact, a collection of iron beads discovered in a tomb that's more than 5,000 years old predates Egypt's Iron Age by 2,000 years. In Central and Western Europe, only 2 meteoritic artifacts were known before this discovery: a bracelet and an axe from Poland. But now, a team of archaeologists and geologists has uncovered an arrowhead that seems to be made from meteorite material. They used electron microscopy, X-rays, and high-energy radiation analysis to determine that the arrowhead was made from an iron-nickel alloy. The team then compared their findings to known meteorite samples. The arrowhead was found alongside copper arrowheads at the Murigen site, which was discovered over a century ago. The artifacts are now part of the Bern Historical Museum's collection. Murigen, a settlement from the late Bronze Age located near a lake, has been of special interest to researchers because of its proximity to the Twanberg meteorite, which is the largest meteorite ever found in Switzerland. But the chemical properties of the new arrowhead didn't match that of the Twanberg meteorite. As they widened their search, researchers noticed that the nickel and germanium levels in the Murigen arrowhead closely matched those found in the Kayali meteorite from Estonia, a country by the Baltic Sea in northern Europe. This meteorite fell around 3,500 years ago, during the Bronze Age, and broke into several smaller pieces. It's more likely to come across small fragments of iron like these, rather than large buried meteorites. The link between Estonia and Switzerland also suggests that prehistoric Europeans might have had a trade network, exchanging things like amber, gemstones, flint for tools, and meteoritic iron. The researchers are excited about the possibility of finding more artifacts from the same source in other archaeological collections. If they do, it could open doors to new discoveries and answers. After all these years, some mysteries are still waiting to be solved. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.